Hey guys, this video is all about gearing, specifically gearing for new accounts. So there's a number of things to go over, and I have a couple of tables that will be kind of helpful to help understand why there are certain decisions made regarding gearing. My first suggestion, if you are very new to the game and you're not farming the gear rage yet, which you shouldn't be until you're a bit further in, the first thing you should be doing is buying gear from the Dwarven Association. If you're just starting out and you see purple gear or even yellow gear in the shop, so epic or legendary gear, it is well worth buying because this saves you stamina. You don't know what the stats are going to be, but the main stat on a weapon is always attack, so that's always useful. It's just generally going to be better than farming gear in gear raids and spending stamina, especially if you can't actually farm them that far yet. So I personally break gearing down, especially early game, but even towards the late game, into 3 core categories: DPS, defenders, and healers. Because marksmen, mages, and fighters are all DPS when it boils down to it, and especially at the very early game, the gearing between them is not going to be any different. Simply put, for a DPS, you just want to maximize attack on them, do whatever gives them the most attack. Everything else doesn't matter at this stage in the game. Defender, you really just want as much health as you can get on them. Picking up some defense as well is nice, but the priority is health. And for a healer, the priority is going to be attack or HP and some healing effect as well. But I would probably prioritize the main stat over the healing effect. Very simply, healers can be either attack scaling or health scaling. So Dolores, for example, is an attack scaling healer. Vortex is a HP scaling healer. The way to see this is if you go to any given healer, let's say Lightlock, you click their first skill, grants heal to one ally in range. If you click the green tooltip heal, it will tell you that it restores HP based on the target's max HP and the hero's attack. So that means Lightlock is healing any of his targets based on that target's HP and his own attack. If we then go to Midan, a HP scaling healer, you can see restores HP based on the target's, so whoever's receiving the heal, their HP, and the hero's max HP, so Midan's own HP. So she needs health to scale her healing higher. So yeah, there's a bunch of healers that scale on HP, a bunch of healers that scale on attack. So then what does that look like in gear? How do you gear these 3 types of people? For fighters, you just chuck them in all attack. The main stat is the focus right now. Substats are not super important, but they can be very nice. But generally you want attack. Okay, so gearing a DPS, what does that actually look like? Well, for a fighter, a mage, or a marksman, you want as much attack as you can possibly get. That means just attack across the board on all 3 pieces. I would advise avoiding a crit rate or crit damage this early in the game. And how to know whether to gear them in bonus attack or just flat attack. Basically, if you are gearing them in epic or rare gear, so purple or blue gear, you want to put them in flat as the main, because it doesn't roll very high on the main stat, whereas attack bonus as a substat and all substats in general, they can roll all the way. There is no capping on substat rolls in this game, so a myth gear can have as good substats as a rare piece of gear, but the main stat is massively different. That means attack bonus is going to scale better as a substat than it would as a main stat on early game pieces of gear. Rare gear is only +4 maximum, epic is +8, legendary is +12, and myth is +16. So there's a massive difference in the main stat of gear based on its quality. So if you're in blue or purple gear, I recommend flat attack as the main stat for DPS and try to find attack bonus as a substat. Crit rate would be great as well. Crit damage is not as important. Maybe even HP bonus would be better at this stage in the game. So if we move on to defenders, you really just want to pick up as much HP as you can get. Again, flat HP is probably a bit better as a main stat, and try to get HP bonus as a substat as it can roll much higher. And pick up defense if you can get it. So either defense bonus, defense flat as substats, or pick up a flat defense as a main stat with HP as substats. But it doesn't matter too much. Again, this early in the game, you're really just focusing on the main stat and upgrading it as much as you can. If you're able to buy some legendary pieces from the shop, that can help quite a bit. And healers are basically using one of those 2 sets. Either they'll use the attack sets that you would have given to a DPS, or they'll use the HP sets that you would have given to a defender. So there isn't really that much diversity this early in the game. I would advise against focusing on the sets, because sets don't give that much bonuses. So if we take a look at some early game gear, this is giving you 10% attack, whereas 10% of my 5-star Iona's attack is scaling on this flat value here is only 248. That is quite nice, but this substat has rolled 487. So break the set by all means if you need to, if it gives you a better substat roll or if it's a better main piece, because again, 324 here is better than 10% of attack. So yeah, I think sets are nice to complement stats, but your focus is the stats. You can do very quick, simple math to work out if it's worth it or not. But generally, I would say it's better to just pick up the stats as a priority, get some good rolls on attacks as your subs for your DPS heroes. That is pretty much the long and short of very early game gearing. Focus on the main stats first, pick up good substats if you can. The sets don't matter all that much unless it still works out better on your stats. Something to know with reading the stat screen, this is quite helpful. The white values on the left are the base values. So if you get, for example, a percentage scaling main, 34% attack, that is 34% of this value here. This is the green values of the bonus you're getting from gear, but this is only from gear right now. So this is only Iona's base stats and only the amount from gear. She does have an artifact equipped, which is giving her more stats. So if you go to attributes and details, you can see the final values, the final bonuses. This would include gallery bonuses and artifacts as well. So if you want to see the actual final result, then I would recommend using this screen here. So moving on to some of the better gear, that is legendary and myth. You notice a much bigger change. The attack bonus main stats are now significantly higher. They go up to 60% at 16. 16 is the highest you can take a piece of gear, and that is only for myth gear. So 60% of 4.3k her base attack is around 2.6k attack, whereas if you were to max a flat attack piece of gear at this point, it would only give you 960 attack. So that is a loss of 1600 attack. Of course you can roll attack bonus as a substat, but a substat is not going to be anywhere near 60%. The maximum would be 33% if it colossal, like full gold bar, and you are not having that. I've never seen that happen. Rarely you will get a gold bar to like just about here, but most of the time it will be in this region here in the middle. So you're much better off going for the attack bonus mains. And as you can see, I've just plus 16 a bunch of gear, most of it with pretty poor rolls, just because I want as much attack possible. I don't even have a set. I'm going to try to get a set on her, but the focus for me right now is just getting as much attack bonus as possible. And this is the same as well if you're only in legendary gear. Attack bonus is 34%. It works out better. I have a table I'll put up here. It's like a cheat sheet showing you what the main stat can roll. And I'll put another one up somewhere over here. I don't know, we'll see. And that's going to show you the substat rolls. You'll see the top row is main. That's because a bunch of stats share the same values. So there's a little tooltip at the bottom explaining exactly what that is. But yeah, that should help you get an understanding of when's better to get what main. Typically, the further into the gear, yellow or red, it's better to have bonus, so percentage gear as the main stats. But again, while we're still super early in the game, I would not focus too heavily on going so far into a crit rate. If you can pick crit rate up through subs, it's super nice to get. Don't worry about crit damage at all. Crit damage as a main stat is completely dead at this point in the game. The attack scaling is a bit weird, but I won't get into that in this video. But it's super important to get your attack as high as possible, as this is really where most of your damage is coming from. Crit damage does not scale that well, and you need crit rate to get any benefit from crit damage. DPS are the ones with a bit more diversity to their build, but when it comes to healers and other characters, you really are just going to be picking up whatever their main stat is or whatever keeps them alive. Again, on healers, pick up some healing effect if you can get hold of it. If you can't get hold of much, it's okay. HP scaling healers especially, I really like to get them health. That's kind of all I want to go over in this video. I don't want to spend too long. It's just a beginner's gearing video. If there's more things you want me to cover, then do let me know below and I'll put it on my list and I'll get around to it. But generally speaking, I would advise looking at the tables I put up and seeing where it works out for you. Definitely just do some quick rudimentary maths if you want to min-max and eke out as much power as you can. But very simply, you're just focusing on attack for all DPS. For healers, some of them will be focusing on attacks such as Dolores or Lightlock. And some of them will be focusing on HP, such as Vortex or Midan. For defenders, I really strongly recommend focusing on HP and getting it as high as possible. Someone like Olag, who is amazing, has a shield scaling on his max HP, so it's really nice. I think it's a bit easier on someone like Regulus to pick up some defense, but definitely take a look at the defender's skills. If they have anything scaling on health, I would really strongly recommend focusing on increasing their health. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there for this video, as I want to keep it fairly concise. So thank you guys very much for watching. I wish you luck in your gameplay, and I'll see you again soon. Take care, and bye-bye.